Star and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going back to our TV show floor plan series. I probably need to actually work out a title for this. And we are extending out Monica's flat from Friends and adding in Joey's / Chandler's / most people have lived in this flat at least some point, similar to Monica's in some ways. I feel like there's less stills that I could find of Joey's house in different instances. So there may be a mismatch of which room is kind of from which season. We're just kind of going to go with what felt the most aesthetically pleasing at the time. So just getting the basic floor plan into place first. I am adding the kind of corridor because I feel like that's almost as iconic now as the actual flats themselves. So we're kind of just working on a lot of the stills I could find online, going with a kind of big open window at the end, which you do see in some shots, and then like a big radiator I put under it as well later. Trying to work out the way the floor plan of this works was very frustrating because in the hallway there's these like dips into the wall, like that bit there on the left, on both sides, which I've had to add in, and I will play around with the shaping of this. But there's no like inner dip in the actual flat, so I'm assuming it's more kind of like for boilers or something, or for pipes. Just going with a nice kind of basic wallpaper. I did add that step in, I had to faff quite a bit with it, and I really wanted just like a flat brown platform, the same colour as the wood, but I wasn't getting anywhere. So it does kind of kick over a little bit more than they do in the show. I was trying to think back to the cheesecake episode a lot for that hallway, particularly the one where the cheesecake falls on the ground and then, you know, they're eating it and Joey comes home and finds them. So I know in the Monica episode we did the apartment essentially like it was right towards the end of the series, and if you haven't seen that one, it will be linked in a playlist of these now, because we're going to hopefully do a fair few more of these. But with Joey's, like I said, it's a lot sort of different time periods. We do try and do the oversized TV unit, which was an absolute faff, and I will absolutely explain to you what happened in that, and a lot of it was cut out because oh my god, I was rubbish. The only thing that annoys me about the corridors is obviously to put the doors in and to make the doors work for the inside of the flats. The outside of the flats have like a purple and grey door rather than the iconic green ones. But I felt like it was more useful to have the inside of the house or flats look right than necessarily that corridor bit, because I didn't really need the corridor bit. I could absolutely have done this as two separate floor plans. But I think it just ties it together a little bit. So I wanted a bigger door because I made this quite high ceiling in Monica's, but in their flat they've got kind of like almost like a window section above the door, but I couldn't find a decent one in grey. And I do put a flooring down here that's quite bright for the flat. We do go back later, I think, and tone it down ever so slightly. So of course we're going to go first with the absolutely iconic kitchen, with the little two island bits that most of the time they're sitting someone on that sort of island, aren't they? I think I come back and change those counter colours because they're a bit too bright, but I think with the floor I didn't entirely work out that they were too bright until we were past the point. We don't have anything that's quite as perfect as the cabinets were in Monica's flat. These ones are a little bit different from what they've got on the show, but not massively. That microwave, I think I'll try and put it back later, but trying to get it into the position they've got it in the show, because it needs to be on a specific unit and usable for the Sims. That is one thing, this flat will not be usable to play in. I have basically closed off two of the doors by doing the oversized TV unit, so it's not playable in any way, shape or form. But I added on here like a little, I couldn't find anything that was good enough for it, but like their Etch-a-Sketch they have on the back, which often like insider jokes happen in part of the show and you can kind of see bits and pieces. And I think it's used as a plot point a couple of times, especially in the episode where Chandler is trying to keep track of the calls that he's taking for Joey, for auditions that Joey has, and completely messes it up. But there's a little unit under that on that side, which I've put down, which again isn't entirely correct. And in some shots it's not there, some seasons it's not. We did put a massive ceramic dog and that bright yellow couch that they have. This is kind of where the mismatch comes in, because I think the yellow couch comes in mostly after they've been robbed and then they rebuild. And by that point, I think he changes the TV unit over. But I kind of, with Monica's flat, the layout of it doesn't change very much per seasons, and it kind of stays the iconic symbols of everything. Whereas with Joey and Chandler's flat, there's a lot of changes, obviously, because a lot of people move in and out. And Joey himself doesn't seem to be so set on a style. He seems to be quite happy to change things around and try new things out. So there's quite a lot of change that happens for him. So we're kind of going slightly mixed. But now, these are the Dream Home decorator things. I have cut out what is probably about 40 minutes of me trying to faff with these. There doesn't seem, and it could be me, so if anyone knows the trick to this, please do let me know. I can't seem to make those units click together and stay together in a convenient fashion. Trying to move the whole unit meant I usually moved 2 or 3 of them in a different order at a different time. We do eventually, and this is what pained me slightly, I do chuck out the whole thing, and there's another unit we put in place instead, which I preferred, but then I kind of extend it to go over the doors, and it does kind of mismatch slightly, but I just wanted that iconic, that, you know, they can't get into their rooms properly, everything's snagging on everything, Joey's cut through Chandler's door, that kind of stuff. So usually when they have their Barker lounges, they do have like a little coffee table, and it's glass topped. That's kind of the closest I could get to. And then I went back to this again. I did cut out a lot of this, but this is a significant amount of what I was doing. Trying to make the unit look like what he's got, which has got a load of sections and some drawers. And actually, I know it's oversized and that's part of the joke of this, but I do quite like the look of what he did. And he doesn't seem to be that bad a carpenter, if we're going to go with that as part of the law. God, what were we doing? I did an half faff with this, but I think I came out with a system I preferred, and then I completely got rid of it later. There was so much faffing. Like I'm trying to take the whole unit, and sometimes it will let me. It seems to be sometimes if I put the mouse in the center, it will move the whole thing. Sometimes that will break the thing. I just couldn't work it. The Dream Home decorator stuff is very nice. I really like the designs of them. And I know some people are not as keen on the swatches of them, but I quite like the kind of plain, modern. None of the woods match in The Sims anyway, so I've stopped trying to do that. But I really do like the kind of layout of it. It's just that mechanic of trying to keep the things attached that I just can't seem to manage. So while I've been talking, we've put down a glass coffee table, which is what they've got near the yellow, and a dartboard. Again, in some seasons they have it, in other seasons they don't. They do, next to this island, have like a little corner piece, which at one point they have their phone on, because there's an episode where Chandler picks up the phone or gets a message through on a number that isn't his, and basically womanizes around that. We're not going to get too much into the details, but there's definitely a phone on that corner. I couldn't find like a deep brown, which is what they actually have, so I tried just to go for something, and that's the best I could do. Above the TV, they have a picture of, I believe it's Laurel and Hardy, and obviously we haven't got anything that's like that, so I've just gone for the sad clown. I don't know why. The clown bit makes sense, I think, because it's all comedy. Sad clown, not so sure. Change out those chairs, and I've redone the colour of the cabinets, so the chairs were way too silver. It's supposed to be very dark in the thing. And then I did make another attempt at the microwave. And then over here there's a bit of artwork and stuff. So I've put up a movie poster of a medical movie poster, because of course, kind of a nod to Joey's kind of career in a little way. Now, both of these bedrooms, most of the shots you have in the show are pitch black, like nighttime shots, or very occasionally, you're seeing shots in there. Because I'm doing the room for Chandler as Chandler's room and not Rachel's room, actually very few shots where you see Chandler like in his room and you see most of the room. Similar with Joey's. So with Joey's ones, I've kind of taken a still from when Mike and Phoebe are about to get married, And Mike kind of comes in here with Joey, and Joey gives him like the dad talk almost. I think that's what he does for a little bit of that episode for a joke, kind of ends up almost acting like it because he's taking her down the aisle. So he's got, again, lots of movie posters, obviously because of his career path and his love of film and stuff. So I've put this on there. He is very much more cluttered in that shot that I found, but I couldn't find a lot of little clutter items I wanted to do, and it felt like Joey. So some of it is more just kind of attempting to feel like Joey. There's a little black unit just behind the door, and a lot of stuff just piled on top of everything. And I think there's a bedside table. A lot of this is making some kind of assumption. And similar with the Monica's room, because we don't see like the fourth wall of this room, I haven't put anything on, I haven't made any assumptions. I've kind of just gone with this is the main room because it does feel like people can walk around quite easily when you're in Joey's room. So we're just going to clutter up everything here. I got the image that he likes little cluttery things. Maybe that little locket, because he's got quite a big engaged family, is maybe like a family heirloom. He's got like cologne up there, a few bits and pieces just dotted around. And then I made the room smaller because it felt weird. It felt like the right floor plan for what I found in terms of like an actual floor plan of the flat, but it did seem way too big. I elaborated slightly with Chandler's room here. So in the shot that I took is the one where he has is having hypnosis tapes being done to try and stop smoking. And behind his bed, he almost has like what feels like a kind of cubed unit, like a calyx or something. But it's got a lot of his vinyls in it. And you do see it another time as well when he's dating Janice and he accidentally rolls her out of bed. There's like a unit behind his bed. So I've gone with that. And I've made an assumption that he'd have a dresser somewhere. And I've put a little TV because I just also feel like with Chandler, he's probably more likely to have indulged a little bit in a few bits and pieces over the years. Now this is where I change every single thing that I was faffing around for close to an hour at this point. This is actually a drop-down bed, but there's something about the unit that had the right style. Now I know it's a bit more cluttered up than probably Joey's and Chandler's are, and it's got like colours in it they don't have, but it just felt like it was more what I was aiming for, and it looked lived in, whereas my units looked a lot emptier and a lot more of a pain. So actually, I found more shots of the bathroom than either of their bedrooms. Because there's episodes where Chandler and Monica are like secretly dating and end up hiding in there. There's bath scenes with the ducks and the Chick and the Duck. So I've kind of gone for, I think, the Chick and the Duck series, like an early one. Yellowish walls, and that's a very simple bathroom. I won't faff too much, but I did clutter up a little bit in here as well. So I think that is probably where I'm going to leave you in terms of the voiceover. Thank you so much for watching. If you are enjoying the TV series sort of group that we've got going on, do let me know down in the comments if you want any particular shows to feature. If I've seen them, it'll be easier, but obviously if I haven't, I will look them up and work it out. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Nikki Starr, and I will see you in the next one.